It was a difficult and amazing week in the United States Navy. We got the first air-to-air kill in 20 years in Syria, if you saw the news. I was so stoked about that because that's a mission I believe in. And then I was immediately pissed off that it wasn't the Growler, and even more pissed off it wasn't the Zapper, and then terrified that it wasn't me because but I'm glad that somebody got to contribute and show what the jet can do and what the missile that we carry can do. And that's the same mission we were doing, and I knew we were ready to do that. So that was like the high side. On the low side, my Naval Academy roommate, when he was an ensign, was aboard the USS Fitzgerald. He's a civilian now, but his shipmates had the worst week in the history of the Navy since the USS Cole, when 7 people were killed, and that was 7 sailors. Over the weekend, I want you to just Google that and read those people. There was a couple immigrants on that list. There was a couple people raised by single fathers. There was a couple people with college credits who were like trying to better themselves, but they all valued purpose and valued loyalty. And then there was one sailor, a first-class petty officer by the name of Green was his last name, who's going to retire 3 months from now. And the initial reports are that he went back into the berthing multiple times and was helping people out. And he was in the berthing when they set Zebra in order to save the ship. That is the type of courage and a commitment that I pray that someday I would have, but in my heart of hearts, I'm not sure if I did. It makes me even more appreciative that there are people out there like that. And I know every time I see the people in this hangar, I know that we all have that same core principles and we are part of that same service. If you want to look somebody else up, over 4th of July weekend, my favorite petty officer, as much as I love all of you, my favorite petty officer in the history of the United States Navy was a guy by the name of Bruno Guido. Because Bruno's a great name. And anybody named Bruno must be cool. But 75 years ago, in 1942, Bruno Guido was a 3rd class on board the USS Enterprise. He was an air crew. He flew in the Dauntless as a tail gunner, which was an enlisted build at the time. So he would have a JG pilot, and he was a tail gunner in the Dauntless. On that day in 42, 5 Japanese dive bombers came at him. 4 of them got shot down, and 1 of them made it through and was screaming towards the Enterprise. And Guido jumped into the back of the Dauntless that was strapped to the deck of the carrier and started unloading his 30 cal at the jet as it was screaming down. Badass Japanese pilot, this guy Lieutenant Naiko, who was apparently the ace of the base, and he aimed at the cockpit and he shot him down. Pieces of the Japanese airplane crashed onto the carrier, and Guido took the fire extinguisher from the airplanes and put out the fire himself. Then, like any good petty officer, he realized he was about to get in trouble because he abandoned his post during GQ and he just unloaded a 30 cal from the flight of the deck of an aircraft carrier that was, from a bird that was strapped to the deck. So, like any good petty officer, he ran and he hid it. So that's the part of the story I like. I like that part of the story. Part of the story I love is that there was an officer on the bridge by the name of Admiral Paul Halsey who watched it happen. And he put a search out and he said, find that guy and bring him up here. So they find Guido, they bring him up to the bridge. He's pretty sure he's going to get busted down. And instead, Admiral Halsey shakes his hand and says, thank you, you're doing a great job, keep it up. So that is, for me, the embodiment of great petty officers, but also officers, and our responsibility to recognize talent, nurture that talent, and reward it when we can. Does that make sense? Got me. In the spirit of the USS Fitzgerald, and in honor of Petty Officer Guido, and in honor of Admiral Halsey, I'd like a quick round of applause for the Navy's newest first-class petty officer, A01 Wiki DeMott. Well deserved. He's going to start getting paid tomorrow. There's great people, and we got plenty of those. And then every once in a while, you need to step up and fill the shoes of great people who came before us. And as much as I think that I'm important to this squadron, I'm not the most important, nor frankly do I think are any of the officers or any of the chiefs, but it's the LPOs in this squadron that run the squadron and make it good or make it bad. And I trust my life every day to the PRs, and I'm not going to be in the squadron where we have an LPO that's now a second-class petty officer. So a round of applause for the Navy's newest second-class petty officer, Rebecca Balderas. Today we did a safety stand down, and safety is none of this would matter if we were killing people or crashing jets. In the Navy, the line shack is E5s and E6s. In the Air Force, the line shack is E5s and E6s, and in the Navy we take our junior guys and we put them in the line. And when I walk up and salute, and you give me the brief and you say the jet is good to go, I trust you that it's good to go. That is a sacred bond that I have as an aviator with the line shack, and I couldn't be prouder of all the work that the line shack is doing. What both Yossi and Brogan doing, welcome to the ranks of Petty Officer. They're our Navy's newest third class. I literally stayed in the Navy 15 years ago because I watched my skipper meritoriously promote a couple of sailors.